Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're here to discuss the arena with CEO Jason. Jason, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey guys, excited to be here. Let's run this up.
Thanks for doing this again. I know you are doing like a sort of a talk show circuit here and have signed up for 20 plus spaces already. So if you're repeating some of the same stuff, I apologize, but hopefully we'll dig into some areas that you haven't quite covered yet. So we'll start. Why don't we just start with how you came across the arena? Your situation's a little unique. You're the CEO of the arena, but you're not the founder. Rather, you saw the potential in it and you took it over during troubled times. So give us the story. And again, apologies if you kind of covered this in a lot of other spaces. Hopefully we have some new audience here, but give us the story of how you initially discovered Stars Arena and started using it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's always important to go over the context of how we got here. One of the crazier stories, honestly, in crypto and Web3, and it's still being told as we speak. But I have a past in crypto and Web3, focused around shipping consumer products. Real big belief, specifically mobile first, and it's an area of the industry that's super early, but it has that breakout potential to onboard a vast new audience than what we currently have, right? By offering the benefits of Web3 technology, but the usability of apps that everyone can use, and really removing that complexity and friction. So my a project I started on Solana known as Rove, based around NFT ticketing and loyalty rewards. We were really one of the first of these consumer apps. We got approved by the App Store, built sort of a reward and token economy, in a really seamless consumer mobile app. Well, that naturally lent itself to the whole SocialFi wave that emerged shortly thereafter, right? And around this time, Frentech was the main. And I know they're in the limelight right now with a launch today, but Frentech was the main sort of product that ushered in this current meta of SocialFi. This was back in 2023, August roughly, and this was like a sector I became very interested in, right? Given my thesis on the space, my past experience, where I was really directing a lot of my focus. Well, after Frentech hit the scene and kind of exploded and got a lot of mind share, Stars Arena launched shortly thereafter. And Stars Arena was a breakout SocialFi app on Avalanche, whereas Frentech is on Base. And at the time in early September, it was kind of like lightning in a bottle. It went really viral. They got a ton of users, over 100,000 in 2 weeks, stealing a lot of mind share from Frentech, migrating a lot of users over. A lot, a lot of these users, it was their first experience in Avalanche. I remember AVAX was like $8 at the time, and when Stars Arena blew up, it single handedly pumped the token to $11 that day. Really, just like a crazy time. I became an early user of Stars Arena, and initially I was playing around with it. I loved the differentiators, the global feed, the simplicity of the product, the stickiness, a lot that we'll probably get into later in the show. But I started getting more and more active, right? At first, it was like an initial interest, and I really started building a following, forming relationships, deploying more capital. So just to kind of run through the sequence of events, because it's all important to how we got here. Stars Arena, when it hit like its fever pitch, 3 million TVL, everyone talking about it. Boom, got hit with a horrible exploit. The entire TVL drained, all 3 million. People were in utter disbelief, panicking, and that kind of started a process, a 1 week process of them recovering the funds, patching up the smart contract, getting an audit. And everyone was like, okay, it's secure now. There's some backing. It was audited. We'll give this a second try. So Stars Arena opened back up, and that was actually just the beginning of the issues, right? I was obviously still a loyal user and very active, but the previous team, the management, there was a lot of infighting stuff going on behind the scenes, further exploits, a lot of rumors, and people just lost complete faith in the team and abandoned the platform. Just migrated off, mass exodus, everyone withdrawing funds, and very vocally fudding the platform on on Twitter and elsewhere. Just when this was about to hit zero, I actually started, some discussions behind the scenes about a potential acquisition of this or a takeover. And um, I got on a plane to go to Amsterdam, and it was a little rocky before I took off. I was going to Breakpoint. By the time I landed, it was utter mayhem. Everyone everyone was leaving, and this was the time where we had to put this deal together very quickly before it was literally zero and there was no hope of coming back. So over the course of 4 days, put together a pretty complicated deal, a lot of moving parts. Was up for 100 straight hours, stayed in my hotel room, and this was very, very public. There were rumors coming out talking about this. At the end of the 4 days, put out a epic post in the arena, and that really started this complete transition. The old team was out. We took ownership over it. It took a little while to migrate all the tech and the code. There were some hiccups during the process, but we fought through it. We started fresh, changed the brand name, changed the identity, and really began the rebuild process from there.
Incredible. I know this question has probably been asked a lot, but what was the value in keeping the arena, right? Instead of taking the idea and trying to create a new platform, just kind of using the same concepts, which I know a lot of people also attempted, but you felt there was something clearly very, very valuable in the arena itself and in the lightning that it captured. Can you talk about what that was that you felt was better to take over rather than start afresh?
Yeah, so around this time, pretty much everyone who I respect, who I was talking to, told me not to do this. I was hearing very vocal opinions from the community, even directly, like, why would you take this over? Stars Arena's dead. Start something new. Once you lose a community and you lose trust, people's attention span is so short in crypto, right? We all know this. They move on to the next thing. And, there's a lot of risks, liabilities. So, despite all of this noise, I still saw something like extremely special in the arena. And it's very evident today, right, what that was. And that was an extremely diverse, loyal, like talented community that really believed in what this could become. And they weren't just sitting here farming an airdrop like they might have been on other apps, because it was never clear who was kind of behind the protocol in terms of like investors and support. It was never clear what the points were. So the people that were actually in the arena, or Stars Arena at the time, had that core group had like an actual belief and wanted to be a part of this future. And I thought that was extremely special. You can't really replicate that, or it's very hard to, right? And I knew like the product could be enhanced. We'd get the security fixed. Um, I have belief in myself, and the team that we put together on the management side. And I just knew that this was something I believed it was worth saving. I started viewing it kind of like a distressed asset, and also like the biggest sort of alpha, right, is where people aren't necessarily looking. So I kind of take a contrarian mindset, when needed, and generally, if there's like a consensus view in the heat of the moment, it's often, the truth lies somewhere in between, right? So I kind of had my own vision on what this could become, and I believed it got to a point that it was worth kind of stepping in and making a play on.
Excellent. Yeah, it often always comes down to the community, right? If you build a strong community, that's more valuable than anything else, and that's something that brands are always trying to just buy outright if they can. That's why companies get acquired, simply because they have, a loyal group of users. After you made this acquisition, did you feel, because of that there was like a ticking clock? Did you feel like you had to rush to push things out and get these changes made quickly to keep what was so valuable about it there as much as possible, which is the people using it and the audience?
Yeah, 100%. There was a ticking clock from day one. The existing community showed a lot of support during the takeover. and had a lot of belief that this could come back, but they were also, they had a lot of PTSD. Like, this was an absolute roller coaster of a platform. Anyone who was there in the early days knows that. So while they were kind of willing to let this play out, there was definitely this very palpable feeling of like, we need to move fast here, right? And that is the truth, because the whole thing was dangling by a thread, and there wasn't time to, I guess, take all the preparation that goes into a brand new business or company. So, like, pretty much this entire rebuild process was building everything in parallel on the fly, right? Bringing in a new team, getting control of the code base, securing the code base, learning the code base, fixing bugs, shipping new features, keeping the community happy, rewarding users, thinking of innovative ways to rebuild the brand, right? Regain trust. No one trusted this anymore. No one wanted to come back. They had a very sour taste in their mouth. And then, forming bigger partnerships, and also just like forming a future vision and planning for that in the midst of it all. So all of this had to happen in tandem. And yeah, from day one, actually, when we took it over, um, during the transition process of the code, there was another exploit where users lost funds, right? And that made us shut down trading and do a complete migration of the keys during a time when people were already very restless. So, like, all these things combined, very stressful period, but we got through it. We got stronger because of it. We saw who was kind of here and a true believer after the dust settled, and we rewarded them. And it was a very, I think, important phase for what this would become, because it allowed us to create a really strong foundation and support, because we were tested so many times early on.
Yeah, I don't think, if you're new to the arena, it might be hard to appreciate how intense that period when trading was shut down. Was that like a week-long period, maybe?
Yeah, it was
Just the amount of
2 weeks. Yeah,
Go
2
ahead.
weeks.
Yeah, there was like the big feelings that occurred, obviously, with the user base. People couldn't divest themselves from it, and the speculation of what would happen when trading reopened. It was a pretty intense 2 weeks. What was it like for your team on the other side of that? Watching that.
Yeah, it was extremely intense. I was in Europe at the time, so I was on a different time zone, and when the thing got exploited again, it was literally like, I think 3 or 4 a.m. my time, and I was finally getting like my first actual like sleep in a while, and then I woke up to that. It was a really crazy time period, because the expectations were kind of unrealistic. Like, we didn't even have full control of the code. Once we did, we had to learn. This was written by a previous developer, right? He was a solo developer on the last team, so he didn't like document stuff. It was just all his work, right? So we had to like decode that. We had to learn it. People are expecting bug fixes, new features. Then they're expecting their funds back, when we had to identify what the exploit even was. Um, then they're expecting like a roadmap. They want to know what points are. They want to know, like, we have to put a team together. It was just a lot, right? So during that time, as as an operator, what you have to do is you have to really drown out the noise, and understand that, like, people are going to leave. This thing was heading to zero, right? So it's going to take time to rebuild this. So if people are expecting everything to be done in a day, they're better off leaving, right? You don't even try to keep them. Like, let them leave, let them eventually come back, and just know what the priorities are, right? Know how to multitask, and what is absolutely necessary first and foremost, which in our case was securing the code base, right? And then from there, putting a thoughtful plan together, that could be executed quickly.
Right. I'll ask you one more question about security, and then I want to move into the bright future of what's happening today and down the road. But as far as security, like the thing that really attracted me to the arena back last fall when I started using it was the simplicity of it, right? The abstraction away of any sort of accounts, and the way you could get started, because you hop on, people buy your tickets, you have the ability to start interacting and using it and making transactions with the press of a button. And I think that's a very important part of what the identity is of SocialFi, right? Is if it has a shot at getting these, traditional Web2 users, it's got to keep that simplicity. How do you think about that in terms of like, you just introduced a new feature where you can buy with one click, like the security versus the ease of access? Like people are securing their accounts simply by how secure their X account is. There's some trade-offs there, but I know your team has definitely done a lot more work and thought and research into this than the previous team that was kind of flying by the seat of their pants. But how do you think about that balance?
Yeah, it's one of the toughest balances there is in this space. You used a great word there, trade-offs. Web3 is kind of defined right now by trade-offs. Like you can't have everything, right? So if you want the self-ownership, custodial ownership, decentralization that comes with Web3, right? And the ownership of assets, you oftentimes have to sacrifice on usability. Like you can't have the best of both worlds. Or you could just use Web2 applications and payments and then not be part of this movement, right? So this is the classic trade-off since the beginning of Bitcoin that the space has experienced. This is something I've personally thought a lot about because, Arena is not my first rodeo. Been building products in this space for a long time. And specifically on the consumer side, this is the constant um, calculations are around security, right? And usability. And, as much as we clown like the old team and there was a lot happening behind the scenes, right? That we're not going to get into. But as much as we clown them, it is important for people to realize how difficult it is to deal with hyper growth in a very short period of time for a crypto social app, right? Like it is, unless you've actually experienced it from the operation side, it's actually impossible to understand how many things are coming at you at once, how many decisions you have to make in a short period of time, what you have to prioritize versus deprioritize, right? Like all these things are very difficult to, uh, especially for like new operators to really get through on the fly. But I think where we've landed is striking the right balance between security and usability. So the main thing that's held crypto applications back since day one is that there's that huge barrier to entry, right? So like right now, we take this for granted because we do it every day. But right now, people from the outside using these products have to normally get crypto on a centralized exchange, sign up for that, do KYC, whatever that takes, buy these tokens, then set up other wallets, save their seed phrases, transfer the tokens to that new wallet, connect that wallet into an application or buy tokens from it. Hope you're doing the right thing. You don't fall victim to the million phishing links out there. Then interact with it. Then at that point, still make sure it's secure and you remember your passwords and can transfer back and get into fiat later. Like that is an insane process, right? That there's a reason this is still a relatively small industry, although it's growing year over year and improving. So from day one, like if we don't remove those steps, we're not going to have a larger user base than what exists already. So you have to, right? But then there's ways to kind of make sure security is still intact. So like for example, on our new feature, which is our new feature being the social exchange that we announced yesterday, while it is like a one click or two click process to buy, and it's stored in your Arena wallet, that might seem like, all right, like this is not secure. Anyone can take this. But all we're actually really doing is routing the transaction through an existing DEX that people use every day, right, in the space. We're not the ones actually doing the transactions. This is as if you just bought the tokens on your own. We're just making the process super seamless and putting a better user interface to it. So um, pretty much everything we do, and part of V2 is new wallet solution and new login solutions that are more secure. But everything we do is like grounded in security, but striking that balance of like the best user experience possible.
Yeah, you got to keep it simple. I mean, every time I try to explain Web3 to anybody, you just lose track of the fact that, and I don't feel like I've been in it that long, 3 years, but just like I take the ability to use MetaMask as second nature, and it's just not. It's very, very hard when you're getting started. You released a couple of new features. I want to talk about the exchange in a second, but also you have Stripe being integrated with the platform, and I think that ties in nicely to what you're talking about people getting on ramped and getting into the platform. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Stripe and what the plans are there and how you think that can affect people hopping onto the arena?
Yeah, this is a massive partnership. This was announced Monday, and then we launched Social Exchange yesterday. So you could kind of see the progression of our thoughts in how we're rolling features out. But Stripe is crucial for us because one of the biggest barriers to onboarding different types of users. So like one of the thoughts, that I had to work through was like from day one, my mind is how do we expand this beyond what it currently is as a user base, right? If this just becomes a hub for, the Avalanche community and ecosystem, like that's great, right? I'm sure like we could do a lot of interesting things and have a fun go at it, but we have bigger ambitions, right? And a bigger vision here. So when you're starting to think about that, you have to realize that for the average person to get AVAX is not easy. It's all the steps I just mentioned, right? And the arena is already unique in the fact that you don't need AVAX to get started. You just log in with a couple clicks and people can start buying your ticket and then you earn AVAX. But like that's not sustainable either if there's not new liquidity coming in and new money coming in. So the answer to all this is fiat on ramps where you can purchase AVAX in the app directly without needing to go to a centralized exchange, and you can start deploying it or spending it, within a few minutes. That's like the dream. And our partnership with Stripe takes that to the next level because this is one of the biggest Web2 payment rails that we know right now. So now users will be able to come in and with a credit card get their AVAX and start participating. Log in from their favorite social media apps, their current ones, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, email. Log in with a couple clicks, use a credit card, get AVAX, and then start deploying, start buying people's tickets, start tipping people, and as of yesterday, start buying tokens and meme coins directly in 2 clicks.
Yeah, it'll be huge for sure. Do you know the timeline on when people will be able to do that? When Stripe will be integrated?
Yeah, Stripe's coming within a month from now. The widget will be in the app. This was a big announcement, and Stripe is starting to make some moves in crypto. So we needed to capitalize on that, and we'll be actually implementing it in a short time frame.
Awesome. And will the same mechanic where $ AVAX, you click that one click, that'll take you to the Stripe interface rather than the social exchange?
Yeah, we'll have an actual widget in the app where it will say like buy AVAX. But if you want to do it the way you just described, that's another route to get there, which is buy it through the social exchange, and then that directs you to Stripe specifically for AVAX.
Awesome. Sorry, one last question about Stripe. I think it's really fascinating and kind of got buried a little bit because of the second announcement that came out the next day. But will users be able to off ramp with Stripe? I think that's something that is going to be important to people who have never used it before to show that you can actually get money out. Will that be a capability that Stripe provides?
Admittedly, we haven't dug fully into that aspect of it yet. We were more concerned with the on ramp because that's where their focus is right now. You still have to go through a KYC process with them, but you can purchase crypto. I don't think they're as they're a little more reluctant to do the off ramping part because then that requires them to track exactly where the crypto came from, and I don't think they have the infrastructure to do that yet. So, as the
Totally.
payment provider, they're just handling the on ramp for us, and then when users want to cash out, they will have to move their AVAX to a centralized exchange.
Well, it's a good excuse to force them to learn crypto and kind of get into our world there. So I like that. You mentioned that you're expanding it. This is a feature that I've seen talked about quite a bit, but like the ability to come in from other apps, because there are huge TikTok influencers, huge Instagram influencers. So I'm very excited for the arena that will be happening, that people will be able to come in from there. How are you guys dealing with potential like username conflicts? So if somebody has one username on Twitter and is already registered, but somebody else comes in from TikTok and has that same username over there. This is a very technical question, but I asked because of the switchover we made from art on AVAX to culture on AVAX. It was just it was a curious thing for how that was handled going forward.
Yeah, great question. So the way we're kind of approaching this is, since there's multiple. All right, so I have a lot of experience with these sorts of social wallet logins from my days, the early days of Rove and how we built that. And one of the issues is, just to get a little technical with you guys, right? But with these different authentication wallets in Web3, there's a bunch of them. There's Privy, there's Web3 Auth, there's Halliday. You guys have probably heard about some of these or used them. The main issue with these is it just links your wallet to the authentication system you use to log in, right? So if I'm using the same app and one day I use my Gmail to log in and I deploy a ton of crypto and it's sitting in that wallet, if I log into the very same app the next day and I use a different login, so I don't use my Gmail, let's say I connect my X, I'm now considered, even though I'm the same person, it's now a brand new wallet that shows zero. And all of my crypto is on the other one that I logged in through Gmail. And you could imagine like the issues that could arise here if people log in with a different login, from one day to the next, and they think all their crypto's gone. The reality is it's different wallets being created. So we're coming up with this was a huge pain point that, I identified it early on. So we're kind of coming up with a custom solution here where the goal is that each user has a unique user ID. Okay, so if you're in the app, you have a user ID within Arena that we recognize is you. From there, you can attach all of these different logins, right? So you could attach your X, your Instagram, your Reddit, right, your TikTok, any login option that we add, you could attach to your user ID, but it doesn't fundamentally change who you are or what your wallet is, right? And that's a big unlock. No one even thinks about these details, but like this is what goes into like the final products that you guys see. So yeah, like what's going to happen is you can have these different usernames attached to your user ID, but there's actually like one central handle that you will pick for the arena that will be consistent despite how you choose to log in. And that's how we overcome like these issues I described.
Awesome. Yeah, I in prep for this interview, I kind of did a little experiment because of that name change. So when I changed the name from Art on AVAX to Culture on AVAX, a plan change that happened on the first of the year, I immediately went and re-reserved Art on AVAX under a different account, just so somebody didn't come in and take it and start trying to spoof as us and run scams. So this week I was like, what happens if I try to log in as Art on AVAX? I went in there and tried to click in and authorize app, but it just kept bumping me out. It wouldn't let me log in. So that was sort of the genesis of that question, was just a little curious experiment. Let's talk a little bit about tickets, if we can. This is one of my favorite topics. I know that the arena is very self-referential, very meta right now, although I'm seeing sort of some change into like a generalized social platform, which is, I think, the goal and where it's heading. But how do you feel about the role of tickets on the platform generally? How do you see them being useful for creators and for the holders of those tickets?
Yeah, so the tickets are what I believe. Tickets are a massive unlock in SocialFi that are extremely innovative, right? The concept of bonding curves. Actually going to put a tweet out soon about like how we got here with bonding curves, the evolution of the space, and it's actually like super interesting when you take a meta approach to it. But there's like, I don't believe the first iteration of these were kind of used correctly, right? So like the point of a ticket is supposed to be the ability to bet on creators early, which they fill that purpose and get access to their rooms. And since there's a bonding curve, they're liquid. This was the main issue with like NFTs, right? Remember when all the celebrities would try to like sell NFTs that would get you access to them, but then there's no liquidity, and these inevitably speed run to zero. Same with social tokens. Well, the bonding curve around tickets solves for that, and that's why it was like such a innovative concept. But we do have to evolve this, and there are a lot of flaws with it that I could get into across the board. But like I think one of the weirdest concepts that's forming is like if you think about a SocialFi platform, it's just supposed to provide the tools and the infrastructure for these interactions to happen on top of it. So it's a social network at heart. Yet if there's this concept of TVL as the metric that really matters, which is like how much capital is locked in tickets. And then if that goes down, they tend to blame the platform or the team. Whereas it should be up to the creator that you're holding their ticket to keep the value of their ticket up, right? So if I'm selling someone's ticket, it like I shouldn't necessarily be. It's not like a testament to. It shouldn't be a testament to the platform, right? It should be like, I don't see value in holding this person's ticket. I may not have value in accessing them directly anymore, or maybe like it's at a price where I want to get out. The reason that I think this is because there hasn't been an ability for people to get exposure to the platform in any ways beyond tickets up until now, right? So like if you believe in the future of the arena and you see what we're shipping and you like the vision and you think we could execute on it, you're like, damn, how do I get in on this early? Right? And the only way for the public to do that right now is to buy people's tickets. But that doesn't actually not necessarily map one to one in like the progress we're making. I'll give a perfect example of that. We announced a partnership with Stripe, right? And a social exchange this week. Yet, some tickets sold off. So it doesn't correspond one to one with the actual progress that the platform's making, right? So I don't necessarily think that these are used for their actual intended purpose as of yet because there isn't enough infrastructure around them and people are looking to get exposure to the platform through tickets rather than use tickets for their intended purpose. So there's other issues as well, but we're solving all of these with V2. And what I think is amazing about crypto and tokenized ecosystems is you can actually release assets that align the interests of the platform and the users. Whereas, tickets on a bonding curve may not be that answer that people are looking for. And we found ways to kind of ease that ease that transition because we offer points based on the tickets you hold, which will convert into stuff that does have a more direct mapping towards how the platform's doing. So I'm trying to balance being a little vague, but answering your question.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't think like it's not really used for its intended purpose today. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of room for evolution, but it is a crazy innovation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to needle you further and see if I can actually crack open a little bit of that vagueness. Yeah. I think everybody kind of sees the issue is like the bonding curve very quickly creates a huge barrier to people that want to connect with these creators. That if you're 5 minutes late to a giant creator joining, good luck. You're going to be paying thousands of dollars to get into their room. Have you guys considered features, and this is a little bit spurred by ACP 77, which is talking about the idea of decoupling the need to stake AVAX to run a validator specifically for subnets. Is there like a version of that for tickets where like you can get one-off content for a fee-based structure? Like I can't buy Kaleo's ticket, but I can pay a little bit of AVAX and get into his room for 24 hours or something like that. Are there like features in the hopper to give users options to follow their favorite creators that aren't spending thousands of dollars into a ticket?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the issues of tickets. Well, it depends how you look at it, right? People have different opinions on it. Um, Friendtech, just to use them as as a point of reference because they're one and we're number two. Friendtech has a much steeper curve than Arena does. So the issue you just identified is like really prevalent there, where they have what's called a very steep bonding curve. So it doesn't cost as much money to drive a price up to the point where it's like really hard for an average person to get access anymore. We have a less steep bonding curve, so it costs more money to drive the price up to a point where it's unreachable. And then at that point, like if it does get up there, right, which like the top tickets are getting there now, then it is probably like an exclusive room that is desirable by the market. So, but like if you're talking about a general, and you do need these types of rooms. Like imagine like someone like Drake, onboarded, and like imagine what that would, and he was actually using the app. Like imagine what that room would get to, or people like that. And they probably should, right? Because if you want direct access and he's actually offering value to his ticket holders and actually using this app, the market would value that exceptionally high. I mean, they pay $80,000 for a ticket to a Taylor Swift concert, right? So like that feature should exist, but there should also be more accessible points. So I think what you're getting at is a concept of fractional tickets, which is like, can I still like access this creator in some form or fashion, without having to own one whole ticket to do so? And there are innovations we're making on the smart contract side now to allow that, specifically at first around stages, right? Because stages need to be we need to find the balance between allowing Spaces hosts to monetize, but not making it like honestly, like no one's gonna pay like $2,000 for one space, or unless like something crazy is happening in it. So there needs to be a way for if the host chooses to ticket gate their space, it can be done in a way where different tiers of people can access it if they choose. So yes, that is a feature we've identified that needs a lot of that needs some improvements going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of getting at that. There's like subscription models, but also there's like general features like somebody having the ability to say rent out their ticket. Although I understand the issues that could be created there, where you're like when they become transferable, you end up with OTC sales, which kind of defeats the purpose of the bonding curve and the liquidity there and all that stuff. So it's something that you have to like probably get a tokenomics expert to kind of look into, but yeah, I think that there's a lot of possibility out there for where you can take this to kind of open it up to more people who didn't get that hot ticket right off the bat. I mentioned subnets, so I'm going to talk about us for a second. Any thoughts on a subnet? Any use for a subnet? Would you guys consider in the future, especially with your token forthcoming that could be used as gas for that subnet? What do you guys have in mind in terms of creating your own arena chain or sticking around on the AVAX C chain?
Yeah. We actually we publicly kind of telegraphed our approach here in the first Medium article when we announced Arena, the token, around a month or so ago. And I think this is one of the as a builder, I'm very familiar with like the different blockchains and like at the protocol level and like what the difference between them is. And this has always been one of the, I think, major value propositions for Avalanche are these subnets. These things are super powerful when used correctly. I still don't think we've seen them fully used uh, in the right way, but I do know some major games on Avalanche are rolling out their own subnets, and I think we finally saw some of the limitations of the C chain earlier this year, end of last year, early this year, when inscriptions started hitting the chain. And there was a time where this was right around when we rolled out the OG badge, so it distracted people. But like everyone will still remember, there were days where you couldn't trade on the arena during inscriptions because the gas fees were like all out of whack, and every transaction was failing. And around that time, um, we were like, the C chain clearly isn't. It's potentially not suitable for what this could become. if you imagine a future where Avalanche, the chain, has all of these AAA games that are used by like millions of people, and then you have a social app like the Arena used by millions of people all at once, and the C chain is having trouble supporting inscriptions, there could be major issues there. So we didn't want to unilaterally make this decision. So we said that Arena is a governance token. That's its first sort of main use case. And the very first vote is, should the Arena migrate to its own subnet, in which case Arena, the token, becomes more of a sort of gas token, right? In addition to its other utility. And this is something that I'm not necessarily going to give my full view on, because it is going to be actually a vote for the community to make. But this does kind of enable certain things for us if the community chooses to go that direction. We have plans either way, regardless of what the decision is. But I think it could. I just think subnet infrastructure is very, very interesting. Is where I'll leave that.
I love it, and I agree. I don't want to put you on the spot too much. Oh, and I see some requests coming in. I will start taking questions in just a second, so sit tight. I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but have you looked over the Avalanche Community Proposal 77? The like really what deals with the restructuring of how subnets are organized and how they're paid for, basically. Do you have any thoughts on it, or have you not had a chance to look it over?
Yeah, I haven't like read the full thing, but I've been debriefed, and I think it is a bullish development overall. I think it actually is needed for scalability and the next phase of subnets. And yeah, there's a lot around like messaging as well, at the protocol layer of subnets that is evolving. So I actually think like Avalanche is going to be the home of a lot of crazy experimentation on these subnets.
Excellently put. I love it. Yeah, and I can say, as as part of the Ava Labs team, I do encourage you guys to use a subnet because we love the tech, and that's what it's built for. All right, I'll start bringing people up. Bitmanny, good to see you. You have the mic. Do you have a question or thoughts for Jason?
Hello. So basically, I did I raise my hand? I'm sorry, but since Jason is here, okay. Well, one thing about ticketing, the spread of ask and bid is a bit wide, right? Is there any opinion for the future of this?
Yes, great question. It's a massive spread, and it's something that makes it difficult to trade in volume for people unless they're trying to earn points. We're doing First off, don't believe that this is a sustainable model long term at these fees, unless so much new liquidity is entering the platform that it just sustains. But even then, like, um, this is not something that is sustainable. It does need to change. We're lowering the overall spread. Okay, so right now, um, the spread is 10% both ways. Okay, and Arena has some of the highest portion of that going to creators and some of the lowest portion going to the platform out of the other SocialFi apps. The reason that it is 10% both ways, guys, is not just because the platform's charging you 10%. It's because 7% of that is going to the creators, right? The person whose ticket you're buying or selling, which incentivizes them to make more content and get more volume. 2% is going to the platform, and then 1% is going to referrals. And we're actually one of the only apps right now in the SocialFi space that gives direct sort of crypto for referrals. So that's why the spread exists as it does. But we mentioned earlier we were going to move this down to 7.5%. It was difficult to do that in V1 because of the smart contract. But since we're overhauling that with V2 anyway, um, our first change is to reduce this down by 25% across the board. That will apply to each category. And then from there, right, there still needs to be more evolution. And I don't want us as a protocol, like, I also don't want our only form of monetization to come from ticket trading, which is why we're introducing new features, expanding the list of creator tools. All of this in the long run will drive down fees for users and give them more optionality.
All right, thanks a lot.
Excellent question, but Manny, thank you. We had another person come up, ShivDev, but I think we've lost him. If you're out there, please go ahead and request again. I'll bring you up. If anybody else wants to come up, ask a question, give thoughts, please feel free. Jason's being very generous with his time to be here, and we've got just a couple more minutes with him. While we're waiting for the next question, who came up with SocialFi Exchange, aka SEX, S-E-X? Because it's goddamn brilliant. Somebody on your team figure that one out, or?
Yeah, that was me. I actually wasn't thinking of. It's actually a coincidence what that this turned out to be sex, but I was thinking more of like what's a name for this that accurately identifies what it's trying to accomplish, and that is a social exchange, right? It's an exchange embedded behind a social interface that allows the actual influencers and creators that are promoting the projects to monetize. So it's a revolutionary concept, hilarious name. I hope it catches on. We have a lot of new tokens we're adding. It will be multi-chain as well, and we're going to have some onboarding campaigns around it. We strike this balance also. Like everyone's like when they want new features. A feature like this would have been best to roll out when the market picks back up and people are like trying to ape into meme coins again. We rolled it out during a pullback when people aren't really trading as much, right? But then people want new features and it's ready to go. So at this point, I'm sort of the mindset of shipping stuff when we're ready and it fits into our roadmap versus trying to time it perfectly. I do think this feature is going to get a lot of adoption as we expand the tokens and the market picks up and people are trading more and we start really doing some campaigns around it.
Excellent. Well, kudos on the naming. When it goes mainstream, I know it's going to be rebranded to like SFX or something, but for now we get to enjoy the sex. I have a couple more questions. I see you guys. You don't need to raise your hands quite yet. I'm going to go to Max Leverage, then Nugs, then Brandon. So Max, Mike is yours. You have a question?
Yeah, I got a question for Jason. Thanks for having me. Have you considered fractional tickets, which I think will reduce the barrier for entry for newcomers?
Oh no, I see Jason is reconnecting. We might have lost him just a second here. Jason, are you there? Let me add you as a speaker again.
Maybe he didn't like my question.
Yeah, it could have been that. It could have been indeed. I know he touched briefly on fractional tickets a few minutes ago, but you might be fresh to the space, so I understand.
Hey, Max. Yes. We did hit on this. So you could definitely replay it. But yeah, the answer is yes. It's something we're exploring right now. And
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry I missed that. And thanks again for having me up here. And best of luck with the new iteration. I'll be there with you, brother.
Nice. Thank you for coming up. Thanks for the question. All right, Nugs, you're up next.
Yeah, hi. Mic check?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, sounds good. Sorry, I'm in the car right now. Question. So, in regards to, I've been trying to onboard friends who are not big people into Web3 or crypto in general, but as far as like the idea of SocialFi or just any of these new D apps coming out, rewards, anything culturally connecting through X, the hardest part for them to understand the wallet situation and like understanding that it's like a bank account, but it's not, right? It's something that you hold. There's nothing really guarding or protecting you. And so the biggest thing is how can the arena, if I wanted to have a friend join, and I know you, like you said before, is you already have a wallet, but have you thought about like partnering up with Core or like a separate entity to like help with that understanding past just the arena?
Yeah, great question, Nugs. And guys, big shout out to Nugs because he was one of the sponsors of the March Madness prize pool with Meow. But yeah, so I mean, I do agree with you that this is something that it's hard to. It is one of those barriers to entry, and it's hard for newcomers into the space to really fully grasp what this is and the implications of it. I do tend to think like centralized exchanges are starting to do a good job with it. I think social apps like us in general are doing a a pretty good job at it, because it's just an icon at the bottom of a of a social feed, just like any other button, and there you have different types of assets. But there does need to be more education, and it hasn't been super high on our priority list before, in terms of like educating before we've built the infrastructure around it. The start of that was like Stripe and like starting to make this really appealing to the masses. Then we're gonna like really hone in on like educational pieces and I guess optimizing everything.
Yeah, and I guess that's the question. I mean, more so bringing to light is I just have a difficult time with my friends and my friend group, and I mean they're pretty smart individuals. They're not. I mean, they're laymen when it comes to a lot of this. But like, for example, I have friends that develop code, and even them. One of them is a network security engineer, and he just isn't a crypto man, and I don't know how to get him into it. He's just a skeptical individual, but just trying to figure out a way to get them knowledge of understanding how this works, and that's just kind of a barrier to entry to the space. But I've been trying to think of ways to help as far as what's the easiest way, and if that's just informational status or like make it fun. I don't know. I just wanted to bring it up. So thanks, Jason, and thanks for the shout out.
Definitely, Nugs. It's something I think, the space has to, we're still not there yet. And stuff like that is what will get us over over that hump, right? To truly like increasing the audience of this industry, like massively.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Nugs. Great question. And yeah, I agree. I think it's such a huge thing for people to understand that they are the end all be all when it comes to self custody of crypto assets. There's no bank to call to say, hey, can you reverse this charge or whatever? And I think that's a very hard thing for people to understand. So good to call out.
I'm actually going to give my groomsmen meow bags, is what I said. So I'm going to give them an NFT, and then I'm also going to give them $50 to $100 worth of meow. So, and then try and get them on the core wallet and figure out how they can get onto the arena from that. So,
well, I love you for that. Thank you for bringing them onto AVAX, and they're going to either love you or hate you in like a year. So, we'll see.
My best man hates me because I meow at him so much.
Of course. Thank you again for coming up. All right, we got a couple more minutes left. Brandon, you're next on the mic. Do you have a question for Jason?
I do. Hi, Jason. I wanted to talk about sex. Okay, so do you have plans to make it where other developers can add their coins on without your team really having to be involved, or is it going to make it more like the process that you have to go through with TJ? How do you plan on making it where people can easily onboard their crypto into your platform?
Jason lost connection there, so I'll just repeat the question in case he was kind of like going down and coming back up and lost feed there. The question was, will developers be able to add their own coin using the SEX, or is there going to be some sort of process to apply and be approved to be a coin that's part of that process?
Yeah, so this was specifically in regards to the social exchange or tipping or both.
I think probably both.
Okay. Yeah, so with a feature like the social exchange, we have to roll this out in a way where we could test it first and then iterate on it, and we can't just like allow anyone to upload any token at first. So we started with 5 whitelist ones, some of the major ones from the arena, and that will be expanding. But eventually, here the goal of this is that anyone can embed any token into a post, like using the contract address, and the people who are about to buy it will be able to verify the contract address, right? And just like on a DEX right now, like anyone who creates a liquidity pool can launch a token, right? There's no real barrier to entry. You might not be a featured token that pops up, but you can launch one nonetheless. We're thinking about this similarly, right? As long as this is trading on a DEX, has liquidity, you can embed it into a social post and have people buy it. And tipping, we will be expanding the options and enabling tokens to potentially be used for tipping. But once again, that doesn't mean they're going to be like featured tokens because we can't verify everything, right? But we will be expanding this to allow, like, if a new token that just launched wants to onboard all of their users into the arena, or they're already all on the arena, and they want to tip each other in this coin, it shouldn't be up to the arbitrary, decision of the team. And we're busy with a million things. We're not like the Binance listing department, right? It shouldn't really like fall on us to determine which tokens can be used, but we're not going to promote or make certain tokens like official when we don't even know if they're like actually safe and not rogues. So hopefully that answered the question.
It does. One other thing that I'd like to ask about. If anyone has the contract address where you can make it where people send you tips, you send them a coin back, I would greatly appreciate being sent that. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're talking about the automatic cock exchange, I believe, where you can send AVAX and I'll send back cock, that sort of thing. That's a good question for that team. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that is what the social exchange is, right? Like you're essentially buying with AVAX instead of tipping. So we've kind of removed that process. So you could use that as we start expanding the list of tokens that will be included.
Yeah, I'm launching a token Saturday, so I was hoping that I could get on there quickly, and I know y'all are really busy.
Oh,
so.
got it. Yeah, so if you're launching a new token and you want to do it through the arena, by the way, shout outs for doing this. I think that's a smart move for distribution. You can reach out to Pythonomics is the developer for No Chill who built that initially. And then Doc Bad Touch built a bunch of these also in the arena. And he's willing to I can't guarantee that they'd be, that they'll answer you, but that's who I would go to for those.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandon. Jason, you got a couple more minutes? We have another question if you do.
Yeah, I set aside a little time for this. So happy to answer everything.
Excellent. I usually only schedule them for an hour, but almost always go over. So thank you for being smart and proactive about it. Crypto Lids, you've got the mic.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Jason, huge shout out for the massive amount of work you're doing building the arena, and I think you're doing it in the best way possible by just being in all these spaces and in front of all the questions and helping just keep everybody focused on the eye, on the target. But my question is, of course, it's merch related. I was wondering if there's plans for. I know you've talked about APIs and some of the stuff that you guys are building in, but like YouTube has the ability to integrate stores from Wix and different sites, or if you guys have anything kind of going where there's a Shopify integration into our profiles where we can sell directly to our demographic. The arena has been our single best direct to consumer point we've had since we've started the company a year ago. We can actually get directly in front of our target demographic and get merch to them. So we love it there, but we're just wondering if there's going to be a future for selling directly there. Like you've kind of got this janky one on X that you can put one item and it's really lousy, and same thing on Instagram. So hoping to see something super cool from you guys.
You there, Jason? You're muted on mine.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't want to interrupt. I actually dropped you a DM. I wasn't able to hear Crypto Lids, so I was hoping you could repeat the question after. I will listen back though to what he said.
Yeah, of course. No, the question generally was if there'll be an integrated real world marketplace, I believe, a place that a way that users can buy products directly from Crypto Lids shipped to their house in a simple way using the arena. Is that accurate?
That's correct. Yeah, more or less. Just to kind of beat out what they've built on X and Instagram. It's so lousy.
I can imagine. Well, I saw he just disconnected. Let me get him up here again. Jason is coming to us live from the middle of the desert. That's not true. I have no idea where he is.
He's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's true, guys. I'm in a remote location with horrible Wi-Fi. So this is part of monk mode right now, but
Let us send you Starlink.
it was probably a dumb time for me to do the Spaces circuit. I probably should have planned this out a little better. But anyway, I think I got the question. It makes sense because Crypto Lids has some sick merch. They also participated in March Madness with 10 No Chill and 10 Gers hats. So yeah, listen, another big sort of area of focus of mine has always been on not just creating these consumer products that could onboard Web 2 into Web 3, but also sort of merging the more physical world with the digital world. And I know it's like super cliche and everyone talks about it, but I think we're actually developing the payment rails and the infrastructure and the distribution to be one of the first that can actually do these things. So part of the feature roadmap, you saw customizable rooms. We want the ability for people to distribute digital goods to their holders, like, and these could be like tokens, NFTs, different things. We have badges, right? But also physical goods, right? And that's where these, I would say, partnerships and integrations we're doing with the likes of Stripe, et cetera, can get really interesting. So yeah, want merch and stuff like that to be a big part of this future, plus whatever else is built on top, right? And this comes into like the public API and community empowerment and stuff. We'll create the infrastructure that will allow you to build tools on top of it where you can, sell different things, distribute different things, create different types of content, monetize in different ways.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That's what we're looking for.
Thanks, Crypto Lids. Appreciate the question. Thanks for coming up. Solana, you have the mic now.
Thanks. Hey, Jason. I hope you're eating. That's all. I don't know where you are remotely, but I just want you to take care of yourself because this mock mode. I know you're doing fine, but just remember to eat and sleep sometimes. I know you're superhuman, though. Yeah, I would love to hear more about the Stripe integration. I saw the announcement. I thought that was super interesting. If you can speak more about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. First off, appreciate the words of wisdom. I'm definitely eating, so we're all good. But definitely grinding right now. Yeah, Stripe integration was announced Monday, and then we announced the launch of the social exchange yesterday. We still have a couple more partnerships being announced this week, and that was actually just the first one we announced. But yeah, it's we're the first social app that Stripe is partnering with. We're going to have a widget in the app that enables users to buy AVAX, not other tokens, okay, but AVAX directly with a credit card. They'll have to go through whatever KYC process Stripe will have. I don't know what that is yet, and that's on their compliance team to figure out and implement. So there might be some friction there, but nonetheless, this allows people to come into the arena, buy AVAX, not have to transfer it from like a centralized exchange, and start transacting right away. And when you couple this with like the various different login options we have now and the broader audience that we're appealing to, you could kind of see what this could become. And now when people get the AVAX with a credit card, they have more things to do with it. They can tip, they can buy tickets, but as of yesterday, they could also buy tokens as well.
Excellent question. Thank you, Benny. What were you going to say?
No, that's all. Thanks, Jason. Keep on killing it. I know you're doing amazing work. Hang in there. I know everyone's like pulling you up, but yeah, we're all rooting for you. That's all.
If you want to start tipping Jason so that he can eat his meals, I'm sorry. Okay, Andy, you got the mic. What's up? Not a space without average Andy.
Well, that was one of the things actually. I got two things for Jason. I know we're on a Spaces World Tour right now across multiple chains, many hosts, many spaces, and you're a tough guy to keep up with actually. So, do you have a calendar? If we want to hop into some of your spaces throughout the day, is there anywhere we can find that, or what's the best way to fanboy around you while you go on the Spaces World Tour and show support for what you're building in the arena?
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, I've actually been scheduling these myself. So I haven't had like an intern or assistant doing it. I've been having these saved on my on my calendar, so I can try to put something together that updates when I'll be speaking. I can have someone on the team do that. The reason I've been doing it this way is because there's a strategy to this. Obviously, like the awareness that can be spread right now at a very important time is huge, but also I want to start forming a lot of relationships with Spaces hosts because of our upcoming Stages feature, and letting them know why that will be the best place for them to continue to grow their Stages audience. And so far, I'd say it's pretty much, at least what I'm being told, like a 100% success rate of hopping on someone's space and then talking to them after and saying they'll be one of the first to use Stages when we're live. So this is all strategic, and we're hitting multiple chains and communities for a reason.
Yeah, for sure, man. And, I think you already know this, but I will be the number one Stages host on all of the arena. It's not even a question. I will outdo Hodl 10x. I will take down and slay the chicken botcast. This is not to be trifled with when it comes to spaces and my ability to host them and overtake them. But the second part is, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong in this, is more of a feeling than something that's tangible at the moment. But you give off an aura where you really want to like build alongside people, like you're building a platform and then you want them to be able to build things inside of your platform and like kind of have this overall economy that really empowers both builders and creators and users and this whole thing. I've been interested in always like one of my things that I like to ask people is like when you go into this mindset, what is something that you would want to see the community build inside of here that like your guys' team doesn't have on your own personal roadmap? You're like, dude, this would be super cool if someone just like did XYZ. What's that one thing that you have like stewing in your mind right now? You're like, dude, it'd be really cool if somebody the community built and then fill in the blank.
Yeah, that's a great question. And yet the reason I approach it this way is like I'm kind of like a systems thinker with this, and understanding that the most powerful breakout products are actually ones with um, community alignment, right? And where it can become a movement, not just a ongoing continuation of this Web 2 mindset of closed sourcing everything and retaining all value and just shipping when with what they believe is right. So just to kind of give that little opening statement, that's really an amazing question. I mean, obviously, right, there's so much that we have to do and so much we want to build, and we're not an infinitely large team, so stuff gets deprioritized constantly based on what we need to focus on. So yeah, there's a lot of like really cool stuff that we probably won't get to for a while that would be amazing if we see this built um, by users. I mean, what I would say is, first off, like I'm just really interested. All right, so part of our focus, part of my belief, and I have this really like core belief that like what's so cool about layer ones is the ability to create the infrastructure and tools, and then you don't even know what type of crazy shit will be built on top, right? Just look at any layer one blockchain. Just even take Avalanche, for example. I know that when this was being created, they couldn't envision some of the dApps and use cases that were on top of it. So I'm a core believer that if we can apply that to SocialFi and we create this incredible social interface, we have network effects, we have in-app monetization, right? That people will take that and run with it. And not only do I kind of envision this sort of layer one SocialFi concept, but also like our own sort of app store type concept as well, on top of the arena. And this is where stuff could get really crazy. But I would say one feature that we're not ready to roll out, and we won't be probably for a little while, nor would it necessarily make sense in our roadmap. But like if community members wanted to take this on, would be stuff more around streaming, right? We have a lot of streamers in the app, and obviously these are bigger builds, right? And it requires a lot of bandwidth to do this, but Stuff around streaming, we have it on our roadmap. We will focus on it when it's right to do it in terms of product development and onboarding and go to market. But if any of the existing streamers want to build stuff like that directly into the app where they could start doing their streaming there rather than the other platforms they use. Once again, it's a tall task, but that would be something I think would be really cool to see the community build. Other than that, probably there's stuff that like you guys are going to create that I'm not even thinking about. Like, I'll just use the perfect example. When the community members created in-app tipping exchanges, which we talked about already, where you tip. This was like the first iteration of the social exchange, where you tip a profile and it sends to your wallet either tokens or NFTs, or like you're minting an NFT. That was like a crazy innovation that was completely community built and driven. Stuff like that. Just want to see kind of what you guys have cooking up and the experimentations.
Yeah, because I know obviously, me and my team are really big into the spaces, stuff with Audio Forge, and so we're looking obviously immediately to integrate this. We did a complete overhaul of the back end to make sure that we were able to take on loads from outside sources other than Twitter, because I think that's really important for visibility of creators, as well as just making sure that all of the information is available. So I know that we look forward to working alongside you guys and hopping on your calendar at some point to get that nailed down. But I know that we plan on visibility in spaces as a huge thing right now, and I think that is likely going to be a problem. Once you guys get a lot of posts as well, and solving those sort of problems that we've already nailed down and doing our part with the build cycle. It's just something we look forward to, is building in tandem, versus building against somebody. So look forward to hopefully hopping on a call with you guys sometime and hashing that out, especially if you keep talking about these stages more frequently. So I just feel them in my bones that they're very close. My spidey senses are tingling.
Much love, Andy. Sorry I haven't been able to hop on a call with you, but I will answer the DMs.
Oh, it's all good, dude. I see how many spaces you do a day. It's kind of my job to know those kind of things. So I already know what your calendar looks like right after you do it.
Excellent. Thank you for hopping up. Thanks for the question, Andy. Yeah, there's no greater advertisement for a new platform than just hosting a spaces and dealing with the things that happen during it. So yeah, I think everybody's definitely looking forward to stages. I have no more requests up. I'll give anybody a last chance if they want to pop up, ask something, say hello. Please get your requests in now or forever hold your peace. In the meantime, I do have a question. This is a spaces first for Culture on AVAX. I have a question from the Avalanche intern that was DM'd to me, asking about when are you going to up your megabyte upload limits for video so that he can drop his bangers in full resolution.
What a question. Yeah, so we're going to do that soon. Okay, obviously that adds a lot of costs on the infrastructure side, and it's something that can be easily abused. So like part of the decisions around product have to go alongside like decisions around go to market and when things are going to get enough traction and when it really makes sense. So like what also one of my philosophies is to roll things out sort of like and it's not just my philosophy, it's like a common philosophy with building, is you roll out an MVP of certain features or like a V1 of specific features. You see how much traction it's getting. We keep analytics on all this stuff, and if it's in extremely high demand, then you allocate the resources to expand upon that. If it's something that's not getting the traction that you hoped for, then you allocate resources elsewhere, right? And videos have been pretty consistent for us. Like users like them. It adds a new form of content. When we took videos weren't enabled when I took this over. For the record, it was static images and text. That was one of the first things we added. But we haven't seen like a crazy like new spike in video uploads. But maybe that is because the file size limit is too low. But regardless, it is something we're going to add. But like keep in mind, like stages and all these new things we're adding all come with additional considerations as well. So we're not at the scale of X yet, or your favorite Web2 social app, although we will be, but we're not there just yet.
Love it. Excellent question. Thank you, intern. Get back to work now. Last question before we let you go. This is just a personal theory of mine. It's a conspiracy theory. Are you guys working in cahoots with the FriendTech social team to just drive attention towards SocialFi? It's all a big ruse, right? You guys are buds.
I can't comment on that, although it's been entertaining to say the least. But yeah, they're going a little rogue right now. We do have a lot for the culture in the arena though. Like as you said, we now have the sex, right? The best sex is in the arena. We have 69 arena tokens per point. That was not I actually deliberately constructed that. So we got a lot, a lot for the culture in here. But in general, I think we're focused on actually building stuff. And I have no idea where FriendTech's head is right now. I know they have a launch today. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're having fun with them right now.
Good. Yeah. And it was entertaining to watch. Everybody was kind of losing it yesterday, I feel like, on X. Not just in the crypto sphere. There was like Deion Sanders was going nuts and like taking shots at college kids. It was wild. It was a wild day. I think that's a great place to end it. Thank you for coming in. Let me I'll make a quick announcement with regards to AvaLabs on the arena. I just found out that we are able to start tipping again. So I will go back and start doing that as culture on AVAX and as gaming on AVAX. I have some funds, whatever funds come in from ticket trading, we're going to try to tip back to users, especially users that are creating content there. In culture case, maybe it's like roundups of NFTs or things about your favorite artists. I'm going to try to find stuff like that. And then, of course, gaming on the gaming side, it's about gaming content. So just a heads up that I'm going to try to get back in there with those two accounts. Again, Jason, thank you so much for coming. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank our speakers, Bitmanny, Max Leverage, Nugs, Brandon, CryptoLids, Vinny Solana, Average Andy, and of course the Avalanche intern for his text write-in question. Jason, you are the guest of honor. Is there anything that you want to say to kind of close us out?
No, thank you for having me. I was very excited about the space. I think you guys are doing great work. The on the Avalanche arts and culture side, I think I'll always say this. This is one of the strongest communities in all of crypto is the Avalanche ecosystem. And I'm hoping we can be that central hub to keep expanding that and start onboarding, just since the takeover. I obviously have a multi-chain background. Some of the people that I've onboarded, I know this because personally talked to them after. They're like, I had no idea how much was happening on Avalanche and how cool this ecosystem is. So stuff like this is really important to not just us as an app on top, right, but for the underlying blockchain. So yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to you guys doing an amazing job. And yeah, we have a lot coming out. We have a very sort of like strategically planned release, and roadmap, and you could kind of start piecing it together based on the things that we roll out and when we announce it. But I know everyone wants more information on the Arena token, which we will be providing. Okay, and just the rest can be found on that V2 Medium article we put out, which had a product roadmap of 19 features. We've already shipped a few of them, right? One was the fiat on-ramp with Stripe, the announcement. Another was the public API, which we shipped already. And then we talked about the social exchange, which just came out yesterday, right? So that's already 3 down in a week. I know we're still getting the wins, but a lot of excitement to come, guys. And I promise we'll keep delivering for you guys and making this as strong a platform as it can be.
Excellent. And quick plug, when are you on a Spaces next, in case people want to pop up and talk to you
Yeah,
then?
I think I have another one today in a couple hours. I need to confirm that. And then I have a bunch tomorrow. But we'll have to got to get a bunch done before that space. So I'm probably going to be hard to reach for the next few hours. But yeah, guys, I will, now that I know people want to go with me on this circuit, I hope I don't get too redundant, but like every host asks me some of the same questions to start. Actually, arts and culture asked the most new questions that I've had. But I can't promise it won't get boring. If you literally, there's 40 spaces total that I've scheduled, so it's probably going to be a lot of redundant information, but appreciate the support for those who want to go on the circuit with me. So I'll try to have one of the assistants put a schedule together where you guys can try to tune in when you're free.
That'd be super helpful. All right. Thank you again. I'll let you go so you can get back to work, and really appreciate you being with us. Take care. Have a great rest of your
Thanks,
Thursday.
everyone. Great to be here. Hope to see you in the arena.